Please follow along with me as we go over this worksheet together. Inquiry Skills Focus Introduction. Observe. The first day of school is an exciting time. You find out who your teachers are, who else is in your classes, and where your classrooms are. When you look around to see what the room looks like and who is there, you are making observations. Observing is using one or more of your senses, such as sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, to gather information about the world. For example, seeing a green chalkboard, hearing a bell ring, smelling smoke, tasting a sour lemon, and feeling a smooth desktop are all observations. Information gathered from observations is called evidence or data. Making and recording observations is the most basic skill in science. When you make observations in science, you want them to be accurate and objective. An accurate observation is an exact report of what your senses tell you. An objective observation will avoid all opinions or bias, which is based on specific points of view. Now, I'd like you to look on your worksheet, and there are 3 examples listed there. Let's pause for a moment and determine whether each of those 3 examples is either qualitative or quantitative. So let's review. Qualitative observations are those that are made using your senses. Quantitative observations are those that are made that involve specific numbers or measurements. So, beside each example, please write qual, Q-U-A-L, or quant, Q-U-A-N-T, beside examples 1, 2, and 3. Please pause the video, and when you are finished, push play again. So let's go over your 3 examples together. 16 students were present for roll call, and 5 other students arrived afterward. That type of observation is one that involves specific numbers. So you should have written quant or quantitative. Example 2, half the class was late. Half is a specific measurement. So example 2 also should have been quantitative. Example 3, the friendliest people were there first. Friendly is a quality you might recognize about someone. So on example 3, you should have written qualitative. Let's read on together. Observations can be either qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative observations are descriptions that do not use numbers. For example, reporting colors, smells, tastes, textures, or sounds will involve you making qualitative observations. Quantitative observations, on the other hand, do include numbers. If you count objects or measure them with standard units, you are making quantitative observations. Quantitative observations are often made using some type of tool or measuring device. Now, see below examples 4, 5, 6, and 7. Please do each one and determine whether it is quantitative or qualitative by again writing qual or quant beside each one. Pause the video to answer examples 4 through 7. Let's go over the examples that you just completed. Example 4. The classroom walls are yellow. That is a quality about the walls of the classroom. Therefore, it is qualitative. Example 5. The classroom floor is shiny. Again, that is a qualitative observation. Example 6. There are 21 students in the room. That involves a number or an exact measurement. That is a quantitative observation. Example 7. The chalkboard is 1 meter high and 2 meters wide. That involves numbers and also tools or measuring devices. Therefore, that is a quantitative measurement. Continuing on. In science, observations are usually followed by attempted explanations or inferences. When scientists make inferences from observations, however, they keep the two processes separate. That's because although an accurate observation is considered to be factual evidence means evidence or data that comes from facts, the inferences may not be correct. When you make and record your observations, write down just what your senses perceive. Remember, an inference is when you take the observation that you have noticed or recognized and you infer or you make a hypothesis or a guess about what would be correct. Please move on and determine whether examples 8, 9, 10, and 11 are qualitative, quantitative, or an inference. So, your job now is to stop the video and answer qual, quant, or inference for each of those. Let's look at example 8. There's an empty aquarium tank in the classroom. Now, that is something you have noticed using your senses. So that is a qualitative observation. Looking at example 9, the tank is 50 centimeters long, 30 centimeters wide, and 18 centimeters deep. That is, again, an observation. That observation involves numbers, so it is a quantitative observation. Looking at example 10, the tank used to contain live fish. Now, you haven't seen any live fish in there. It also does not involve a precise number. So, that is not an observation of any type. It is an inference, something that you have guessed using your observation from the past. Example 11, the tank is waterproof. Again, there is no way to determine whether it's waterproof or not since it's empty. So, this is an inference that you have inferred or you believe from your past knowledge that it is waterproof. So let's finish up with the tips for making observations. Looking at the 5 bullet points below. First bullet point, use the senses of sight, hearing, touch, and smell to make qualitative observations. It's important for safety's sake to not taste any unknown substances. Second bullet point, review your observations to make sure they are accurate and objective. Third bullet point, whenever possible, count or use instruments to make quantitative observations. Make sure you include the unit that identifies each of the measurements, such as mass, of 5 grams or a distance of 15 meters. Fourth bullet point, if no tools are available to make measurements, try to estimate common quantities by referring to known standards. For example, you could state that an object is about as long as a new pencil, or has the mass of a paperclip, or, using what we learned last week, your thumb joint is about an inch long. The fifth bullet point, check your observations to make sure that they are statements about information that is gained through your senses and not explanations of what you have observed, which would be called an inference. Thank you for working with me today on learning about observations and inferences and the difference between those. Make it a great day. The choice is yours. See you. Bye.